Hey, peace, everybody. Desiree D. Ray Y, spiritual healing coach here, helping you to heal your relationship with self, to heal your relationship with others. We are back for another one. Listen, we have been redefining our wealth, giving wealth a new meaning, which is encompassing wholeness, right? To me, wealth is wholeness, it is love, it is commitment, it is growth, it is reciprocation, it is financial freedom. Wellness, wellness, it is wellness too. Wealth is wholeness. There's nothing missing from you, from your life, from your family, from those things that you care about, for those things that you love. That is the true wealth. And so we have to talk about some things that we have to heal in the spirit in order to attract our wealth. Oh my God. I told y'all how this all came about for me last Saturday. Was that Saturday or Sunday? Last Sunday, y'all. I was in the car driving and my mother was babysitting the kids. First of all, if you have somebody that loves you that is willing to babysit your kids, that's wealth, right? And so I have that. My mother was babysitting the kids on Sunday, and I'm in the car driving to go and pick them up because we were about to have a birthday party or something. And so I had to go pick up the kids from her to get them ready for the party and take them and all of that good stuff like that. And so um as I'm in the car, I'm like, the car is such a spiritual place because when I'm in the car, it's quiet. It's just me and my divine mind, and I just get to tune in the spirit. And so I'm in the car and I just start saying words of gratitude. And I recommend that we all do that. Whenever you are in the car and you have a moment to yourself, just have gratitude. Just have gratitude. The car is one of the best places to have gratitude because when we are driving, we are connected to the subconscious mind. Why? Because we're driving on automation. We don't have to think about how to drive. Once you've been driving for so long, there's no thought that is in place of how do I do this? Turn the blinker on, turn right. Like that's not happening, especially when you already know where you're going. When you know where you're going, you're just in the car and you make it to your destination and you're like, I don't even know how I got here. It's because you're in the subconscious mind. So, in those moments, it's the perfect time to impart in your being something that you're wanting to manifest, something that you're grateful for, something that you just love. And so that's what I was doing on Saturday or Sunday, whatever day that was. I was driving in the car and I just was like, thank you, God. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my wealth. And right when your girl said wealth, my cellular body, my energetic body shifted. It vibrated, it resonated. And immediately I was just downloaded with a true understanding of what wealth is. Wealth is love. Wealth is commitment. When you are committed to your spiritual growth, to your spiritual purpose, when you are committed to your family, wow. Wealth is transformation. Wealth is reciprocation, right? So, like all of the things that I was so grateful for my mother for and her watching our kids, Spirit was telling me are forms of wealth. And so I want to tell y'all some things that we have to heal to attract that wealth, right? To attract that love, that reciprocation, that growth, that commitment, that abundance, financial abundance. And when we really look at the word wealth, right? The root word of wealth is well. So, what does it mean for you to just be well? I am well. I am wealthy. When we really look at the root of wealth, we're looking at happiness and prosperity. Okay. That's what wealth means. It means happiness and prosperity. And the prosperity can come in so many ways. Prosperity, of course, can come in the form of money. Prosperity, of course, can come in the form of love and connections. Prosperity can come in the form of your passion and your purpose. But that's what wealth is. So there's so many definitions to wealth. And a lot of times we've limited ourselves to thinking that we are only wealthy if we have a certain number in our bank account. But baby, I want to tell you, you are wealthy because you are loved. You are wealthy because you are passionate. You are wealthy because you are purposeful. You are wealthy because you are constantly doing your spiritual work. You're growing, you're healing. You are wealthy because you are made in the image of God. You are wealthy just because you are. And when we lean into that, when we attract that wealth, when we honor the wealth that we are, this is what makes space for the financial abundance. Whether you see it or not, because you are internally wealthy, the financial wealth is there as well because they're on the same frequency. We're going to get into some things that we have to heal. Peace. Hey, girl. Hey, to Celestial Earth Goddess. Hey, my girl, Rising Vibes. Hey, my good sis, Shakila. Hey, Love. Hey, Caprell. Hey, Kendra. Hey, Keon. Hey, y'all. Hey, my sacred sister, Eileen. Hey, girl. How you been? Eileen, it's been a while, girl. I'm so grateful to still see you here popping up. It's been years since we've been connected. Eileen, y'all, was one of our first Patreon members. Eileen has just been a part of the family for so long. So, hey, Dream used to always say, Aileen. I'm like, babe, why do you be mispronouncing people's name? Her name is not no Aileen. It's Eileen. But that's Drew, and we love him for it. Hey, mommy to a star. Hey, sis, how you doing? All right. I hope y'all are doing well. I hope y'all are doing well and feeling wealthy. If you're doing well and you're feeling wealthy, just put wealthy in the chat. If you're ready to receive all of your wealth, your true wealth, put wealthy in the chat, okay? Because, honey, we have to work on being wealthy in the spirit. If we are wealthy in spirit, we're automatically wealthy in finance. We're automatically wealthy in love. We're automatically wealthy in health. But we got to first start by being wealthy in the spirit. I'm telling y'all, there are so many people that have financial abundance, and I love that for them. Congratulations, great. But they're poor in the spirit. And this is why you want to work through all of the mental, emotional, spiritual stuff so that when your wealth arrives, you are ready to maintain it, to nourish it, to love it, and to do well with it. Because I'm telling y'all, listen, I was on the phone with my mom yesterday or 2 days ago. My mom is like a hard worker. She's persistent. She's resilient. She's strong. She is just, ah. I swear, y'all, it's like every day I grow more and more and more and more and more in love with my mother. I'm so proud of her. I admire her, right? Where at first, y'all, I'm going to tell y'all, at first, y'all, I used to, at first I was I had a challenging relationship with my mom, but as I've grown spiritually, mentally, emotionally, as I've grown as a mother, I look at my mom and I'm just like, you are that girl. She is just that girl. But this was so good. So I was on the phone with her the other day, and she was telling me how there was a promotion happening at her job that she didn't know about, but she's definitely qualified for. And the people at the job didn't tell her, didn't inform her that there was a promotion available, but everybody else around her kind of knew. And then when they were going and talking to the owner of the business, they kept on saying, oh, my mom's name, we're just going to call her B, just to keep my mom close to my heart and not expose her whole name to y'all. So they kept on saying, B should have this job, B should have this job, B should have this job. But the owners of the business did not come to her and say, hey, you are the one that should have this job. You are the one that should have this position, right? So basically, my mom was telling me this story, and she was like, the bosses wanted to pander her by telling her, like, yeah, everybody kept on mentioning you. Everybody kept on mentioning you. But my mom was like, everybody was mentioning me, but you didn't give me the job. You didn't tell me, you didn't just make it mine. You went and gave the job to somebody outside of the company. Y'all know how that be. They went and gave the job to somebody outside of the company. And so my mom was kind of pissed off about that. My mom was kind of like, okay, y'all didn't do right by me. Y'all didn't value me. Y'all didn't honor me. So she was frustrated about that. But when we were just on the phone, she said, but guess what happened 7 days later? She said, 7 days later, exactly 7 days. Oh my God. Exactly 7 days later, another person who works at that same job, who has already got hired at another position, exactly 7 days later, this woman calls my mom and says, hey, I got a job opportunity for you at this other oil and gas company, y'all. My mom works in oil and gas. At this other oil and gas company, a supervisor position, you're coming in making $80,000, $90,000 right when you come into the job. Do you want to accept the position? My mom was like, hell yes. And first of all, there's so much spiritual stuff that comes into that. First of all, my mother does not have a college degree. She didn't go to school for what she's doing. She put in her time. She put in her time. She was consistent. She worked hard. And now she's able to make above average income in America, right? They say the average income in America is like 30, 40, $40,000, right? My mom gets to go into a job making more money and doing less work. Let me tell you two things that I took away from her in that. One, with the opportunity coming in after 7 days exactly. Seven is a spiritual number. Seven is the chakras, right? Seven is the emotion. And my mom at first was very frustrated and annoyed that this CEO tried to like pander her and like make her feel good, but didn't give her the opportunity. He was devaluing her and she was frustrated about that, but she did not forget who she was and her value. So within those 7 days, she had to make peace with the fact that that was not the place for her to be. Clearly, it's not the place for her to be because they're not valuing her. They're not encouraged. They're not pouring into her. They're not reciprocating. What did I say about wealth? Wealth is love. Wealth is commitment. Wealth is growth. Wealth is reciprocation. So the work that she was putting in was not being reciprocated, right? So she's showing up in love. She's showing up ready to grow. She's showing up ready to do the work, and y'all are not reciprocating. But she did not let what they did not do make her second guess herself, make her second guess her talent, make her second guess who she is. So she gets in tune. She does her spiritual work. She makes peace with it. 7 days later, right? She gets that phone call. The seven is also very important because the Bible says, the Bible says that God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and then on the seventh day, he rested. On the seventh day, God rested and basically admired his creation. So what that means is from day 1 to day 6, it's work, 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 work. But what spirit is really symbolizing in that story, what the divine is really trying to get us to understand is we have to become so in tune mentally, spiritually, emotionally with the wealth that we desire. That's the 6 days of work. And once we've been in that sacred space for 6 days, on the seventh day, we will realize our manifestation. On the seventh day, you will see the fruit of your labor. Okay. And so of course we don't want to get caught up on, working for 6 days. This is what I mean. Your 6 days may be 30 days. Your 6 days may happen in 3 days. Your 6 days may happen in a year. But as long as we stay focused on who and what we need to be to attract our wealth, that seventh day will come. That seventh day will come. That manifestation will show up. That wealth will be manifested. But one of the first things that we have to heal, one of the first things that we have to look at in manifesting and attracting our wealth is our self-value. Okay? It's our self-value. It's understanding who we are, the value that we bring. Okay? The essence that we are. Understanding that we are born valuable. We are inherently valuable. We enter into this realm with a certain level of wisdom, insight, creativity, gifts, talents. You're born valuable. And when we know that, we become magnetic and attractive to wealth. Okay? I heard a spiritual teacher say this. She said, wealth or money loves those who loves themselves. That's good. Money loves those who loves themselves. Wealth loves those who loves themselves. And so my mama, she was like, I'm not gonna let you play in my face, right? She was like, I'm not gonna let you play in my face. I know my value. I know my worth. I know what I have come here to do. I know the value that I bring to this company. So I got y'all. Y'all count your days. My mama was like, count your days. And I know my mama is so real, y'all, because she's like, honey, when she leaves, because she starts this new position making more money. She starts this new position making more money like the first week of June, like June something, June 6th or something like that, June 10th, something like that. She said that old company is going to just crumble. They're going to crumble. They're going to crumble, right? And so my mother has been a great, it's been a beautiful thing to observe my mother over the years. And I use my mother as like my own coaching case study. Like when we talk, we have conversations, I'm like taking mental notes because there are women that I coach that are just like my mama. They have a lot of gifts, they have a lot of talents, they have a lot of power, right? But they let these people play in their face. And they don't understand the inherent value that they have, right? By who they are, by their character, by their personality. Okay. So, value, self-value. We got to heal that in the spirit. Once we heal our value in the spirit, there's nothing that can stop you from attracting your wealth. Now, there's some other things that we got to talk about that plays a part. Okay. Y'all put I am valuable in the chat. I am valuable in the chat. I am valuable. I am valuable. Yes, 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 because you are. You are so valuable and you are so worth it. You know, something else that I recognize as a roadblock to creating wealth, financial wealth, spiritual wealth, love wealth, peace wealth, health wealth, is despair. Despair, which means heartbreak, letdown, disappointment. I had a client that I did a consultation with a while back who had all the money, right? She's like a top ranked, she actually like, how do I explain it? She manages the hospitals, right? She manages certain branches in a hospital. So she's like this top ranked person that manages hospitals, but she works a lot. Like she works a lot to afford her lifestyle, right? Because she loves her luxury, right? She loves the Mercedes Benz. She loves her her Fendi, her Tory Burch, her Chanel. That's her, right? But when we had our coaching session, I realized and we were able to kind of recognize that she worked a lot to mask her sadness. And this is why I say to y'all that wealth is not just about what's in your bank account. Because if you have a lot of money in your bank account, but no peace, no love, no joy, are you really wealthy? Because according to the Bible, wealth also means happiness. Okay. So I have this client, and like I said, she's a top level nurse. She has multiple jobs. She has like 3 different nursing jobs. She keeps going to school, right? Keeps going to school, keeps getting the next degree and the next degree and the next degree. I spoke to her. I spoke to her about 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, okay, you done with school? You good with school? No, I'm gonna go and get that doctorate degree now. And I contemplate and I'm like, why do you feel like you need that? More school, more hours? Like, I get it. But why? Why? You're making $150,000 a year. This is a fact. You're making $150,000 a year from one job. You got a whole nother side job. I know you love luxurious things. You don't have any children. And so what we got into, and I was like, okay, you're not necessarily leaving a legacy or building generational wealth and things like that because it's just you. So, what are you running away from and hiding in by working, working, working? And she ends up telling me this story of how 2 things happened. She was in a serious relationship in her younger years when she first was in college for nursing school. She was in a serious relationship with a guy who she had loved. Her and that guy had got pregnant. They had a miscarriage. Her and that guy had got pregnant, had a miscarriage. And then a little while into their relationship, she found out that he was actually cheating. And so when she told me this, and it was so crazy because all of this is coming out because she's asking me questions like, well, do you cook for your husband every night? I'm like, yeah, I cook. And she's like, yeah, I don't cook for my men anymore because I was doing all of the cooking and cleaning for my guy, and he ended up cheating on me. And so what I realized is that she was still holding on to despair. She was still holding on to heartbreak. She was still holding on to just this letdown and this disappointment. And so to avoid feeling and to avoid healing, she works, 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 go to school, 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 and she has just totally blocked out everything else that comes with life. Everything else that is important to live a life of wellness. To live a life of wellness, you need relationships. You need love. You need connections. We are not meant to do this life alone. And so there's so many women like this specific client who are working, 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 and they're building their financial wealth, but are neglecting their love wealth, but are neglecting their commitment wealth, that are neglecting their spiritual wealth. Okay? So we have to heal our hearts. We have to heal our hearts and welcome in love. And so the very first step in being able to do that is understanding that your pain is supposed to teach you something. Your pain is supposed to teach you something. It's not something that we run away from. We got to stand up and face it. When we face our pain, when we face our fears, we become stronger. We become more enlightened. We become more enlivened. And we know and understand that we don't have to continue telling ourselves that story. We don't have to believe the narrative of that pain. Okay? So if you are like, okay, I don't have the love that I truly desire, or even I don't have the abundance that I truly desire, what heartache are you running away from? And let me tell you, I get it. I understand this, sister. And when we did our consultations and our coaching, we really sat in the pain. I helped her to understand that you don't have to accept that man's mistakes as your new life. Because in reality, his cheating and the loss of that child is still dictating how you show up today. And so I asked her, do you want a more whole life? Do you want a more life that isn't missing anything? Do you want true wealth? Because that money ain't keeping you warm at night. Like, yes, it has afforded you a nice bed, a beautiful home, a nice car, but you don't have anybody to share that with. And she's just like, damn. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, you have to heal that part of yourself. Know that it was not your fault. This is just a lesson. This is just an opportunity for you to grow. And as you do that work, now you get to manifest. Now you still get to have your big bag, sis, right? You did all the schooling. You're showing up to the job, but now you get to let one of them 3 jobs go because you need some time to spend with this new partner. You need some time to spend in love, right? And so that's something that we have to understand. Money is not going to uh, uh, keep you warm at night. Okay. And so she's found love. Let's just say that she's found love. And the partner that she has found now allows her to still do her work, allows her to still do her thing without being so restrictive of her, because she already has so much sovereignty, so much independence, being a breadwinner for herself, making so much money, being able to go on vacations whenever she wanted to. She's manifested a partner who, one, already has kids, right? Because she's getting a little bit older. If she wanted to have kids, I feel like she still can, but she's getting a little bit older. So she manifested her partner that does has kids. So she just gets to love and nurture those kids in the way that she does, right? And he still allows her to have her freedom, her space, but they get to just do a lot of things together. But the way that she was able to manifest that was opening herself up and knowing that she could receive a partner who would fit into the life that she has. And she no longer has to hold on to that pain of that last relationship. Okay. So if we want to create wealth, we have to heal our pains. We have to heal the heartbreak. All right. Because money isn't going to do it alone. And it just don't work like that. Which makes me bring up the fact of Nicki Minaj. Did y'all see that Nicki Minaj has been arrested for like weed in Amsterdam? Did y'all see that? Let me know if y'all saw that. I saw it. And as I was observing it, there are so many people in the comments and in the chats that are like, we do not care. They're like, we don't care. Uh uh we don't care that Nikki is arrested in Amsterdam. They whatever. They like forget about her. Not worried about it. Right? That was interesting to me reading these comments and all of these people saying they don't care, they don't care, they don't care. Nikki is a mean girl, so they don't care. That was very interesting to me. And it brought up this concept of wealth. Obviously, from these comments, Nicki Minaj has pissed off so many people, has hurt so many people, right? Based off of her own despair, based off of her own heartbreak. She has projected so much onto people, from Meg the Stallion to Cardi B and all of these other people, that she's created this energy around her where people don't care about her well-being. Okay? So that to me speaks back to the concept of wealth. Nicki Minaj has a lot of money, right? From what we see, Nicki Minaj is a multi millionaire, of course. But if people don't care about your well-being, are you wealthy? I saw a whole girl. There's a girl on Instagram. Her name is like Jasmine Garden. Some of y'all probably follow her. She's a Black girl, spiritualist, and she is just like, she's out there with her spiritual message and how she feels. And she literally made a reel saying, I don't give a damn that Nicki Minaj is locked up. She was like, I don't want to hear the rhetoric of this is another Black woman, and the Black woman is being locked up in Amsterdam and we need to be supporting her. I don't have that same opinion. I don't really, to me, it just is what it is. Nicki Minaj hasn't offended me, right? But there are so many women in the comments bringing up Megan Thee Stallion. There's so many women in the comments bringing up so many things that Nicki Minaj has said or has done that people are desensitized to the fact that Nicki Minaj is locked up in Amsterdam right now. So that to me symbolizes a sense of poorness to me, right? Thank you for the donation, Rising Vibes. Appreciate you, right? That to me symbolizes there's a sense of brokenness or a lack of wealth in that arena. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have to make sure that we are not pissing off people intentionally or from our own wounded space, from our own heartbreak, from our own despair, from our egos, because we will sever relationships that are important to our success. Okay? And they said the issue with what she was in is not weed is legal in Amsterdam, but she was getting on an airplane with it. So she was taking it out of the country. And that was the problem. And of course, she said, oh, this was my bodyguard's or it was not mine and da 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 da. Okay. So treat people well. We cannot project our heartache and heartbreak and disappointment, our despair onto others. Okay. When we do that, we create unhealthy attachments, unhealthy connections that diminish our wealth. Okay, that diminish our wealth. Y'all, I have made a whole PowerPoint for y'all. Let's look at it real quick. Okay. So boom. These are some questions that I've been able to answer for some clients of mine, right? How do I overcome feelings of unworthiness and truly believe that I deserve love and abundance, right? A lot of times we feel like it's either or. A lot of times we feel like it's either I got love and average money or just getting by, or it's I got a lot of money and no love. That doesn't have to be reality. The goal of our lives is wholeness. It's to have the abundance. It's to have the love. It's to have the connections. It's to have the purpose. We are meant to live a full life. And you want to know something? We are born whole. We are born whole. How do we know we're born whole? Because we're made in the image of God. We are creators by nature, and everything we need to create the life we desire is inside of us. So nothing is missing inherently. Nothing is missing from within us that would stop us from creating what we desire. But I'll tell you what happens. Here's what happens. First, we have to understand that overcoming feelings of unworthiness begins by accepting the fact that we've been fed a lie. That's step number one. If we're feeling like we have to choose, right? If you're feeling like you have to choose between love or fortune, if you're feeling like you have to choose between purpose or a job, if you're feeling like you have to choose between those things, you're just eating on a lie. You're living off of a lie. Okay? And this is so powerful. These lies become laws that govern how we see ourselves in comparison to what we desire from life. So the lies that we've been fed, they literally become laws. They become the rules that we live by. Okay. Now, let me be clear about this. This is the lies that we've been fed. They don't necessarily happen through words. It's not like, now your mama may have said money don't grow on trees, because mine definitely said that. Mine definitely said money don't grow on trees. So she was feeding me the concept that money couldn't just fall upon me like leaves falling from a tree. And that's a lie. So, yes, my mother did say that to me. But a lot of times, the lies that we are fed happen through action, through deed, through observation. Okay. So, if we want to overcome feelings of unworthiness, or like we can't have both of these things that we desire, we have to first accept the fact that there are some beliefs that we have been allowing to dictate our lives. So, eighth grade prom, right? Eighth grade prom, y'all. My mama took me to Dillard's. She took me to Dillard's to go and buy this gold dress. I remember to the T. We go on Dillard's. She's like, pick whatever dress you want. Okay, this was good. Pick whatever dress you want. So I find this cute gold dress, y'all. It's a halter top dress. I was feeling a little fancy. Halter top dress, gold shimmery. I found me some gold little kitten heels. Purr. These little kitten heels were given straight purr, right? But of course, we're in eighth grade, so you need the little kitten heel. I'm in eighth grade, right? It's the eighth grade dance. And I remember it's the day of the dance. My dad comes over to the house. My dad comes over to my mom's house because he's coming to take pictures of the eighth grade, of me going to the eighth grade prom. And so I got my gold dress on, y'all. I had the micro braids. Y'all ever had the micro braids? The little skinny little, I forgot what we used to call them back in the day. But they were called micro braids, but we also called them something else. So we had these little micro braids, right? These little small braids. I had mine up in a ponytail, a little bun, and my micro braids had curls in them because I had my little halter neck. So I had to wear my hair up so that my little halter neck could be seen, have my little kitten heels. And y'all, I had some little glittery shimmer gold on my eyes. I don't know who did the makeup. It wasn't that serious, but some little gold shimmer on my eyes, little gold earrings or whatever. I felt so gorgeous. I was like, I'm that girl. I'm about to kill this eighth grade dance, right? I'm about to kill the game. That's how I felt, right? So I come out of the house outside because everybody's outside because, even though it's an eighth grade dance, we still treating it like it's really like high school prom. So I come outside, y'all, and I'm feeling great about myself, but my mother nor my father tell me how beautiful I looked. They don't say, "Oh, you look so good, girl," or, "Oh, you look so beautiful." I don't know what was going on. You know what? Now that I think about it, my mother and my father, they just get awkward around each other. Like, still to this day, they get a little bit awkward. It's like they're a little bit more quiet. They're not as talkative. Like, both of my parents are very vocal people. They have opinions. And I guess that was a part of the rift within their relationship, is that they're both very opinionated and they're both very strong-willed. So when they get around each other, in order to like keep the peace, they hold their opinions to themselves, right? So neither one of them told me how gorgeous I looked or how beautiful I looked. And I needed that from them. I wanted that from them. And so as a kid, an eighth grader at that, so pubescent, however you say the word, right? And I'm looking for the validation. I'm looking for the validation. I'm needing the validation. I'm needing their words to encourage me as I'm going into this eighth grade dance. Because I truly feel that those words of encouragement would have shifted the dynamic of my life starting from that moment forward. Because it's like, it's not till you get to like middle school, high school, where you start to really care about how you look, where you start to really care about your appearance. And they didn't validate my appearance, right? On one hand, I'm thinking I look like my dad at the time. I'm looking more and more like my mom now that I've become an adult. But when I was a kid, I looked a lot like my dad. And when a woman is scorned and mad at a father and the daughter look like the father, honey, unconsciously she may not tell you that you're gorgeous. Unconsciously, she may not tell you, this is my experience, how beautiful you are. Okay? So that happened. And I I I was believing this lie that I wasn't beautiful enough, pretty enough to have the love and relationships, right? So I went into like high school feeling like nobody was going to find me attractive, like I wasn't going to be able to get a boyfriend. And y'all know, in high school, that's when you like, okay, who's checking me out? Am I, or is it just me? Y'all let me know in the comments. Because to me, high school, middle school, that's when you start to trying to see, who's that girl, who's that guy, who's attractive, who's this, who's that. And so they did not give me that validation. And so I started to believe that I was unliked, right? Because everybody wants a partner who they find is beautiful, right? Who they find is attractive or sexy. And so from like 8th grade, my parents not telling me that when I came out there from that for that school dance, I literally believed this idea that I was not cute. So crazy. But that lie stuck with me all throughout college, from 8th grade to like throughout college, right? By the time I graduated, that's when I start to feel myself. That's when I start to see myself. That's when I start to be like, oh. And the crazy part is that I was still, people asked me to be their girlfriend, right? People wanted to date me, right? I had a few boyfriends, right? I had a boyfriend in college, right? I had a boyfriend in high school, right? But there was still a belief inside of me that just didn't believe it, right? Felt like, oh, maybe they're just settling for me, or they only like me because I have intelligent conversations and I'm smart, right? But another thing that I realized from that is feeling like I didn't have a going on aesthetically, it made me an overachiever. So for me, when it came down to wealth, right? When it comes down to wealth, financial wealth, I had no problem feeling like I can get money. I'm smart, I'm driven, I'm ambitious, I can talk to people easily. Like, making money is not going to be hard. In fact, I can make money and make it easily, right? I could work. Honey, I never had a problem with getting a job, never had a problem with selling myself. I'm so good at selling. I was a brand ambassador for years. For years, I was getting paid hundreds, thousands of dollars to say, look at this bottle of alcohol, right? Here, try this tequila, right? Before it got so crazy, like influencers on Instagram and stuff. Before that, brand ambassadors was showing up in person. So I never had a problem with selling. I never had a problem with making money. But that love, that relationships, feeling like I could have both, yeah, that's where the challenge was. And so one of the things that I had to heal in order to allow the wealth of love and relationships and to allow financial wealth to coexist in my life is I had to heal this idea that I was deficient, right? That I was deficient, that something was missing from me, that I wasn't pretty enough, gorgeous enough, whatever. I had the body because I was an athlete, played college volleyball, but people marry people who they love here, right? It's a certain look. So I had to overcome that. And one of the ways that I overcame feeling like I wasn't good enough to have both love and money Because, like I said, when it comes down to love and relationships from a man to a man has to find his wife attractive. She has to be his standard of gorgeous, his standard of beautiful. Has to be. If a man is not attracted to his woman, major issues in that relationship. I've had to coach women who've dealt with that, right? To where they just did not feel like their husband or their partners found them very attractive. Okay. So the first thing that I had to do with that was I had to start getting in my mirror. I had to start looking in the mirror, staring at myself, looking into my own eyes, and really letting myself know, girl, you're actually gorgeous. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You are uniquely and divinely made. And I had to tell myself this over and over and over and over again. I had those affirmations on autopilot in my mind. And then as I did that, I would also activate the feeling of I am uniquely and divinely made. The feeling of I am so gorgeous. I am so beautiful. I am so this. And as I literally inhabited that vibration of beauty, this is when all of the attractiveness, all of the attention, all of the this and all of the that started coming. Okay. I remember the first time Dream told me I was gorgeous. We were still just friends. And he was like, one of his friends was talking and he was like, you know, he like you. You know, he interested in you. I'm like, for real? I didn't know. See, because I was so used to not being that girl that was getting chose because of my own internal communication, it wasn't because people didn't find me attractive, but I was still eating the lie that I picked up from my parents. And it was a lie. My mother knows that I'm beautiful. My father knows that I'm beautiful. They just did not know how to communicate it because they were in their own heads. So it was a lie. Okay. Dream's friend, like, you know, he like you. I'm like, what? He like me? I don't know. What you mean? And then Dream validates and he was like, yeah, you know, you gorgeous, you smart. I just, from that moment on, I was like, oh, okay. You been looking at me like that. I didn't know. Okay. And then I started looking at him like that. And then boom, 9 years later, 4 kids later, we're here. Okay. So we got to heal this energy of deficiency. We got to heal feeling despair. We have to heal this energy of being devalued. Okay. Devalued. I also had a client, y'all, who was wealthy in her gifts and in her talents, right? Because that's another way that wealth shows up. Wealth shows up by how we just know how to do something so well, right? So I had a client she still is to this day, she's a director at a daycare. And from what I hear and the reviews that I see about her management of this daycare, they're like, this is the best daycare to come to because this specific client just does so well at it. But when I would talk to this client, she would always just be like, I'm overworked. They're not paying me what I need to be paid, right? Because she could be making more. They're not, her family was taking advantage of her because she was just so good at what she does. She's so good at being who she is. She's a leader. She's a teacher. She's financially abundant. She's a giver. Her heart is just like wide open. Like for my birthday, she randomly sent me a bouquet of flowers. Like that's the type of person that she is, right? She's just a lover. And this is a gift that she has. She has a gift of love, a gift of nurture, a gift of teaching, a gift of leadership. And so when we would be doing our coaching, she would say, my family takes advantage of me. They only call me when they need something. Y'all ever seen some stuff like that before? Where your family is only calling you when they need something, or your job when you need to take a day off, though you've been working to the bone, you've been putting in so much work, but when you need to take a day off, the boss or the CEO is looking at you like, I don't know if I can let you take that day off, right? That was one of my clients. And one of the things that we had to work on was her trusting her own gifts, trusting her talents, valuing her gifts and her talents. Because a part of your wealth is knowing that you have a gift or a talent, a strength that you are meant to give back. And when you tap into those gifts and talents, it makes you wealthy, it makes you abundant because you are literally expressing God through your gifts and through your grace. Okay? But because she didn't honor her own gift, or because she was always giving her gifts to everything and everyone outside of her, she felt depleted, right? She felt that she didn't feel very wealthy, though she's making $100,000 a year as a director and part owner of a thriving daycare. Okay, and I shouldn't even call it a daycare. It's an early childhood learning center. You understand what I mean? You can't even call this place a daycare. It's an early childhood learning center, something like that. Y'all know what they call them. So one of the things that we worked on was, one, she had to set boundaries. Let me tell y'all, you want to tap into some wealth, you better tap into some boundaries. Okay, let me go to this real quick, right? Because this is the question that we had to dive into. How can I integrate my spiritual practices into my professional life to create a more fulfilling career and life? So, what I had to work with that client on was, one, you have to set boundaries. Okay. The key to work life harmony is wholeness. Your profession should be one that allows you to exhibit your natural born gifts and talents. But you got to stop overextending your gifts to employees or employers and so into ourselves, our families, and entrepreneurship. Boundaries make way for balance. Boundaries make way for balance. So a lot of time we're giving our very best. We're giving everything that we got to everything and everyone outside of ourselves. You go into that job, you giving them all your good gifts. You're giving them all your youth, all your time, all your energy. You're overextending yourself. Okay. Literally, you have to set boundaries with family. You have to set boundaries with the job. Literally, I told her this. One of the things that we worked on, I'm like, okay, what time do you supposed to get off that clock? I get off at 6 o'clock. Okay, no matter what you have to complete, when 6 o'clock hits the dot on that clock, you leave. You leave, period. Your time is up. Okay. Another boundary that she had to set was with her family. I'm telling you this because her wealth was being depleted, her gifts, her talents was being depleted, and the life that she wanted to live was being depleted because she was overextending herself to everybody. She wasn't trusting who she was, who she is. She wasn't valuing herself first. Okay. She said her family members would always call her for stuff. Hey, so and so needs some shoes. Hey, can you buy the food for this family event? Can you pick up the kids from school? Can you do this? Like, her family always called on her for everything, right? She was the person, right? And so one of the things I told her, I said, whenever they call you asking you for anything financial, because they're playing on the gift of your heart, right? One of her gifts was she's a giver. Her heart is open and she has it to give, but they keep manipulating that gift, right? So I said, whenever they call you and ask you for something that requires your money or that even requires your time, you tell them, I'm here to support you, but not in that way. I can be a listening ear. I can give you some advice. I can tell you what I would do if I were in that situation. But giving you my money, giving you my time, giving you all of the stuff that I've been giving you, I'm gonna not have. I have to say no to. She did that for 3 months. She did that for 3 months. I was so proud of her, and it was hard for her because she's so used to being the person that's gonna buy the niece or nephew some shoes, that's gonna take care of that bill that the sister can't pay for. All of that, that's who she was, right? So I told her to set that boundary. Set that boundary because they need to know and understand that you are more than just a money bag for them. You are more than just their savior. You are their sister. And the way that you support them, they need to support you. Now, the reason why this was so important for her was because after she did that work, the love in her family grew and expanded. She was able to feel a real connection with her siblings instead of feeling like they were just using her, because that's how she felt. And if relationships are not reciprocal, then there's a lack of relationship wealth. If it's you're just constantly pouring into the job, pouring into the family, and nobody is pouring back into you, that's not wealth. Okay? That's not wealth. That's poorness. That's brokenness. Okay? Wealth means love, commitment, growth, reciprocation. And as her family started to pour back into her because she told them no, then she started to feel more love. They started to understand, okay, we don't have to call her just for money. Let me call her just to check on her. You see, when you don't trust yourself, when you don't value yourself, people will call you just to take, not to pour in, not to love on you, not to check on you, not to see how you're doing. They call and ask for something. And you want to know something so beautiful about this specific client that I'm so grateful for? In her time of saying no to the job, saying no to her family members, she attracted a partner. And I remember we would also have coaching calls about how does she create this balance with her partner, because she was wanting her partner to make more to take more initiative and setting dates and making up dates and just doing nice things instead of just the regular old stuff that they always did. And so she was like, I told her the same boundaries that you set with your family, you can set with him. You can tell to him. Okay. And so she ended up doing that, setting those boundaries and just communicating what she wants from him because she knows her value. She trusts herself. She knows what she has to offer. She knows she has a heart of gold. She knows she has love. She knows that she's a leader. She knows that she's capable. And so when she set those boundaries and when she communicated that, he proposed. See, when you don't set your boundaries, there's a lack of wealth because people are depleting you. Your emotional bank account, your spiritual bank account, your mental bank account, and your physical bank account is drained. You can't even sustain your wealth because you keep on giving it away. It can't be managed, it can't be multiplied. Okay? The wealth can't be managed or multiplied because it's given to everybody else. So beautiful. This specific client lives in Houston. So this was so great. So she ended up getting proposed to. Dream and I actually went to her wedding, and so beautiful. At her wedding, they were doing the garter toss, right? So he's under her dress and he's pulling down what we think is the garter. And then when he pulls it out, it's a little baby onesie. And it says baby so and so coming in. When was that? 2023, right? So they had got married 2022, and they pulled out the little baby onesie instead of a garter and saying baby's coming. Do y'all know I cried? I cried for this client because I knew everything that she went through. She went from being the surrogate mother, let's say it that way. She went from being the surrogate mother to her nieces, her nephew, these kids at these daycare. She wanted her own family. She wanted love for herself. But because she wasn't trusting herself, investing in herself, and valuing herself, all that mothering energy was being overextended to everybody else. But once we set those boundaries, once she learned to say no, honey, the man got on one knee. And then at the wedding, they announced that they was having a baby. And that's wealth. That's wealth. So all in all, y'all, the four things that we got to address if we want wealth, which is just a holistic life. It's love. It is abundance. It is financial freedom. It is growth. It is commitment. It is reciprocation. All of those things wealth encompasses, because those are the things that really help us to live a happy, joyful, and prosperous life. But if we want that, we got to know that we are not deficient. There's nothing missing from us. We are not inadequate. We are not unworthy. We are born worthy. Number two, we have to heal despair. Whatever heartbreak you've been dealing with, right? Book a consultation, book a connection call, book some coaching. Let's work through that, because as you work through that, you can heal your heart, which would allow you to let love in. Okay? And as you let love in, you let in all the things that are on the same frequency of love. Okay? One, we have to heal this energy of devaluing ourselves or letting anybody else devalue us. You have to know that you are inherently valuable. You have everything that you need. You were born with gifts, with skills, with talent, with power. And once you value it, others will begin to value it and not take you for granted. Okay? We have to heal this distrust. Understand that when you don't trust yourself, you can't trust God. Okay? God lives inside of you. Trusting yourself is trusting God. All right? When you trust yourself, you start to make decisions. There's no more indecisiveness. There's no more over giving, over sharing, overextending, right? You trust yourself, you value yourself, so you keep certain things sacred. You keep certain things close to you. You don't just give all of your gifts and all of your energy and all of your time to people, places, and things that are not reciprocating the energy. Okay? That's not happening. Because once you start to pour back into yourself, trust yourself, value yourself, heal your heart, know that you are sufficient, right? Know that you are the head and not the tail. When you know all of that about yourself, life starts to reflect that. And wealth becomes easy, right? You are wealthy in love. You are wealthy in health. You are wealthy in relationships, right? Not just your romantic ones, but platonic ones as well, friendships as well. The relationship with your children is wealthy. You are wealthy in finance. Because you love yourself, now abundance gets to flow to you. Because you know that you are valuable, abundance gets to flow to you. All right. Y'all, ask me some questions if you have any. This has been such a beautiful, beautiful conversation. Let me read some of y'all comments. We got I literally won't take pictures or show my face in videos because of similar situations. Never really thought about why until now. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. And thank you for that donation. Listen. Stop regurgitating the lie. Stop regurgitating the lie. That's all it is. When we find ourselves stuck in these cycles, it's because we keep on bringing back up this lie. We keep living on the lie. Okay? And we don't have to do that. We don't have to do that. I wanted to make this point before I go. Okay? How can I balance financial goals with spiritual and relationship values without feeling conflicted? Because a lot of times on the spiritual journey, we feel conflicted. We're like, well, you've been taught that money is the root of all evil. You've been taught that this human experience doesn't matter. And oh, it's just humanity. And oh, it's the ego. Well, first, I want you to know that our spiritual health is priority as it allows us to enjoy the fruits of our labor more holistically. So your spiritual health has to take precedence over the money, right? Over the finances, because when you are healthy spiritually and holistically, this is how, when you receive the money, you know what to do with it. You know how to invest it. If you're not spiritually healthy, a lot of times you receive money and the money is gone like this. So your spiritual health has to take precedence. Your spiritual health is priority. All right. So that you can enjoy the fruits of your labor. I wanted to really make that point. Understand that having financial wealth without spiritual grounding is like owning a treasure chest filled with gold, but missing the key. Without the wisdom and practice to guide its use, the true value is never realized. leaving one empty despite the riches. See, that makes me think about Diddy. That makes me think about like Drake. That makes me think about all of these people who have financial abundance but lack spiritual wealth. There's so much good that is meant to be done in the world. Money has a lot of power in what it can do. Okay, we're talking about feeding the homeless, school for those who can't go to school. We're talking about housing. We're talking about health and wellness, right? These are all things that money can buy. But if we're not spiritually grounded, we spend our money frivolously. Okay? Which is something that a lot of people, especially people of color or Black people, because there's no spiritual grounding, no wholeness, no intrinsic wholeness. Think about it. Like, you got people, they get paid, right? I heard this guy say this, it was so good. You get paid on a Friday or something like that. You decide you're going to go to the club. You spend $200 at the club. For some people, that's 8 hours of work. For some people, that is a full day of work that was just spent at the club so that you can get attention, so that you can be seen, so that somebody can think that you got it, not knowing that that was just a full 8 hours of time, of energy, of effort. So that's why spiritual healing is so important. That's why spiritual grounding is so important on the pursuit to acquiring more financial wealth. Because when you are healthy and whole spiritually, you are well and wise with your money. You use your money to sow into yourself and to sow into other people. That's why Cat Williams said, I understand the laws of the universe. One of the most genius things that Cat Williams said on his Club Shay Shay interview that people kind of just bypassed, Cat Williams said, there's a code, there is an equation to the universe. The more I give, the more I receive. But when we're not spiritually grounded, we don't know how to give financially, how to give spiritually, mentally, emotionally. But what Cat Williams was saying, I know that the more money I give, the more money I make. That comes from spiritual grounding. But here's another thing. You have to know the more love you give, the more love you receive. The more wisdom you give, the more wisdom you receive. The more light you share, the more light you receive. Okay? This is literally a spiritual equation that never fails. Never fails. All right? Not seeing any questions here. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And if you're needing support, I'm here for y'all. I'm here for you, especially my ladies. I talk to a few brave men every now and then. There are men that book consultations, and I'm always blown away by that. I'm always grateful for that. But my ladies, I love y'all. Let me see what Keon said. I had to remind myself yesterday I'm more than my bank account and car. I was about to slip into beating myself up. I had to give myself a self-loving talk. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Those are the things that really block the flow of abundance. It's when we attach ourselves to the money. We attach ourselves to the car. We attach ourselves to the bank account, and we don't understand that attachment is limitation. That attachment is limitation. You're not a thing. You are an infinite being, right? Even a car is limitation, right? It's limiting. We are so much more. We're so much bigger. We're so much more expansive than that. Okay? And so, yeah, that's something that you have to really look at and make peace with and understand that these are just what we've been taught. That's what I said. We've been fed a lie. Stop regurgitating the lie. Meaning, stop bringing the lie back up, chewing on it, swallowing it again. Throw it up. Throw it up, get rid of it, throw it away, and continue to remind yourself that you are more, you are greater. Let's see. I think you can be attached to somebody who's attached to it. Absolutely. Does that mean you have to leave them? That's good. That's good. That's a really great question because wealth to me means growth. Wealth to me means commitment. And so if you are attached to somebody who's attached to a certain idea and they're not growing, then this energy can affect your growth, your well-being, your manifestation. Absolutely, it can. I wouldn't say that you necessarily have to leave them, but you really have to ask yourself the real question of, are they working on themselves? Are they working on understanding that they are more than money? You know, something that I notice a lot of times with men, right? One of my good friends, her husband, money can dictate his emotions. So if his bank account ain't where it needs to be, now he becomes closed off, a little bit more irritable, not as loving, not as attentive. He's just in a mood. It just seems like he is in a consistent mood of not feeling high vibrational because what's happening financially. And that is what they mean when they say money is the root of all evil. That's what they mean. It's when that happens. When your character, your personality, when your emotions change, or when they are dictated by what's in your bank account. And what people don't understand is that the law of polarity is at play when that happens, because now you've used money as the deciding factor for how you feel. So now the pole is going to shift. It's going to shift where your bank account is feeling nice and lovely, you more comfortable, you feeling good, you like, oh yes, life's great. Boom, now I got to go back to the other side. Barely any money, barely making it. Now you depressed, now you sad, now you don't want to do life or whatever. So what you want to find in a situation like that, you want to find your middle ground. What is actually important to you? What is it that the money is giving you access to that is more important than the money itself? So for me, if I were to put myself in that situation or in that perspective, to me, my kids' joy is more important than the money. So sometimes when the money is overflowing and showering, oh yeah, we getting on a plane, we going somewhere. But if the money is not flowing in that way at this space and time to where I can't hop them on a plane to go somewhere, we're going to get in the car and go somewhere. Because it's not the money, it's the kids' joy that I'm focused on. Okay? Even when it comes down to teaching, I know Brother Panic used to talk about this. A lot of times people are so attracted to the money and they lose sight of their purpose. And so whether I was making money or not, I would still be on here doing these videos. And that's the thing that's the thing that keeps me kept in this work. It's not about how many coaching clients I have, how many readings I do, whatever. It's the fact that I love this. I love what I do. I love these conversations. I love coaching, teaching, reading, supporting, and guiding women and men on their healing journey. That's what I love to do. So no matter how many clients are coming in, I may get 20 clients in 1 month, may get 3 in another month. That don't matter to me, and it doesn't move me, which allows me to stay centered, which allows me to stay passionate and purposeful in my work. So if you're in a situation like that, you want to find out what really matters most to you. And that goes back to the original question and to the original essence of this video. What does wealth mean to you? And once you know what that wealth really means to you, you do your inner work, you do your healing work to allow that to come in. All right? Peace and love, y'all. Make sure you like and share this video. I'm sure somebody needs to hear it. like and share. And I'll be talking to y'all soon. Peace.